Okay, here's part 2 of making something on the potter's wheel. And I'm just gonna make a basic cylinder. So I've already got it centered, and now I'm gonna open it up. So I rest my arms on my legs, and I hold the whole thing like that, and then I just take my thumbs, I push my thumbs together and just press straight down. And when I think I'm about an inch from the bottom, I just stay still and take my hands away. And I could see I need to go a little bit deeper. So when I'm gonna show you the inside. When I open up the bottom, I'm gonna go down a little bit too, but you can see right now it's too conical inside. Can you see the inside? So I gotta open the bottom up. So I'm gonna take my right hand and hold it with my left hand, and I help my middle finger, and I just pull the clay straight back toward the center of my body and open up the bottom. So now the bottom looks good. And now I'm gonna spend a little time compressing the clay and cleaning up the bottom so it looks, it looks nice and smooth, and there's no place for like food to collect if you're trying to clean this stuff. Okay, so now I've got a centered, opened up lump of clay, and I usually start by doing a collar. I want to get it to more of a volcano shape. So I'm going to start with my hands on the outside, and with like these 4 spots, I'm just kind of squeeze in gently and just kind of push the clay up a little bit into a volcano. And the whole trick is to work in time with the wheel. And what I mean, if I put my finger down there, it takes a second for that circle to complete. So when I'm moving my hands up, I always want to make perfect concentric circles. I can only go so fast, so the circles are like that. Now they're going to be coming up this way, but I'm always going to go in time with the wheel. Okay, so now to do a pull, I say start with my hands like this butterfly thing. My left hand's on the inside, my right hand's on the outside. I work at around 3 o'clock, and my fingers are right across from each other like that. So I start with a little bead of water. Sometimes I'll have the sponge in my hand like this. Sometimes I'll use one of these wooden knife or a rib, but this time I'm not going to use anything. Anyway, so I start like this. My middle finger goes in, my first finger I usually have it pointed out like that, and I start with these 2 fingers and I press down and in. Makes a little ridge, get that clay off the bottom, and then I'm pushing out with my inside hand and in a little bit with my outside hand. So I just kind of grab that ridge and I just gently pull it up. And I get to the top. You always want to stay still, let the clay get to where it's got to go, and then just kind of gently release my hands. So at the bottom, I don't want to let the water sit in the bottom like that. That's basically it. So another pull. My right hand on the outside, my fingers are right across from each other. So I start with the pushing on the outside kind of hard for a second, and then as I'm bringing this part up, I'm not squeezing very hard anymore. And I just pull that clay up. And I'm just kind of paying attention so those rings are all perfect, like that, perfect concentric circles. And basically, that's it. So after the first couple of pulls, now I want to worry about the shape. So right now it's a basic cylinder. I could make it into a mug or a vase or whatever. So for one more collar, because the outside is, the top is getting a little bit flared out. So I want to start with the collar again. So I'll make it a little bit taller. And when I'm doing this, I'm feeling the clay. I'm trying to make sure if I have any thick spots, I squeeze a little harder. And if I have any thin spots, I ease up. Because I want this to be an even thickness all the way from the top to the bottom. Okay. So that's about as tall as I'm going to get it with the amount of clay that I had. I'm just going to collar it in one more time. And then work on the shape. So let's say I
Someone crashed.
Pardon me?
I'm overhearing their conversation. Someone crashed.
So the bottom looks okay.
It's beautiful. It's very.
And the last little bit, I'm going to cut off a little bit of excess clay that I have down here.
How creative of you created. Thank you, lady, for my otter. Part 2 is How to Make an Otter by Julia. Perfect. Be sure to subscribe.
The last thing you want to do, take the wire and release it from the back. And that's it. Okay, bye.
Say bye. Bye.